Have you ever wondered what sets love apart from infatuation? Love, as we understand it, is a profound, enduring bond that only grows stronger with time. It's like a fine wine, maturing, evolving, and enriching itself as it ages. It's a connection that has been tested, strained and weathered, yet it not only survives but thrives. On the other hand, infatuation is a wildfire, fierce and intense, but often short-lived. It's a rush of emotions, a whirlwind of passion that sweeps you off your feet. It hits you hard and fast, leaving you breathless and exhilarated, but just as quickly as it comes, it can also disappear, leaving only ashes in its wake. Now, it's not uncommon to mistake this intense infatuation for love, giving birth to what we call delusional love. In this state, we often find ourselves falling for someone we barely know or haven't even met. Be it in the throes of a new relationship or in the midst of an online connection, we start to cherry-pick qualities and traits, projecting them onto this person, creating an image of perfection. This individual becomes an idol, a phantom person who exists not in reality but in our minds. The truth is, the love we feel is real, but the object of our affection isn't. The person we've fallen for is an illusion, created by our own minds and fueled by our desires and fantasies. To truly love someone, it's not enough to know them on a surface level. Love demands time, shared experiences, and an understanding that goes beyond the superficial. It requires us to see a person in all their glory and their flaws, in their best and worst moments, and still choose to love them. Anything less is not love, but infatuation. So how can we distinguish between real love and delusional love? Let's delve into some real-life case studies. Consider the story of Anna, who fell in love with a man she met online. A tale as old as time, or at least as old as the internet. Anna felt a connection with this man. They shared interests, had long, insightful conversations, and she felt they understood each other on a deeper level. But there was a catch. They had never met in person. In her mind, Anna began to paint a picture of this man. She took the qualities she admired, the ones she desired in a partner, and projected them onto him. He became the embodiment of her ideal man, a knight in shining armor, a perfect stranger. In the absence of any physical interaction, there were no real-life situations to challenge this perfect image she had created. No disagreements to navigate, no compromises to make, no flaws to accept. The man she was in love with didn't exist outside of her own mind, but that didn't make her feelings any less real. When they finally decided to meet, the reality hit hard. The man standing in front of her was not the man she had painted in her mind. He was human, with his own set of flaws, idiosyncrasies and imperfections. The disconnect was jarring, and Anna found herself grappling with the disparity between her imagined love and the real person in front of her. This is not an isolated case. Many of us, like Anna, have fallen in love with a phantom person. A person we have constructed in our minds. A person who aligns with our ideals. A person who, in reality, doesn't exist. We might argue that the love we feel for these phantom individuals is real, and in a way it is. But it is also misplaced. It's directed at an illusion, a figment of our imagination, not a real, living, breathing human being. It's not the kind of love that survives the trials and tribulations of real life, the kind of love that accepts the other person, flaws and all. The love Anna felt was real, but the man she loved was a figment of her imagination. Now let's examine the case of John, who was infatuated with a famous actress. John, an everyday individual, fell head over heels for an actress he had never met. He admired her talent, her charisma, and her beauty as he watched her on the silver screen. Over time, John's admiration morphed into a deep affection, and he began to believe he was in love with her. John's infatuation was a carefully woven tapestry, cherry-picking the actress's most admirable qualities and projecting them onto an imaginary idol. He saw perfection in her, an untouched idol with no flaws or blemishes. He believed he knew her, understood her, and loved her, even though they had never exchanged a single word. But here's the catch. John's love, as genuine as it felt, was directed towards an illusion. He loved an image, a persona, a character that the actress embodied, not the real person behind the fame and glamour. The actress was a human being, with her own set of imperfections, insecurities and issues, just like everyone else. But these were details John conveniently overlooked. This illusional love began to affect John's real relationships. He started comparing his partners to the actress, expecting them to live up to the unrealistic standards he had set. His perception of love was distorted, and he found it difficult to form meaningful connections. His love life was a series of disappointments because his partners could never match the perfection of his untouched idol. John's story is not uncommon. Many of us at some point fall for an illusion, a phantom person who doesn't exist outside our heads. We project our fantasies onto these individuals, creating perfect idols that are impossible to match in reality. Infatuation is powerful and can easily be mistaken for love. But true love is not about perfection. It's about understanding, accepting and cherishing someone despite their imperfections. It's about knowing the person in depth, in all their glory and their flaws. Like Anna, John's love was authentic, but the object of his love was an illusion. The love was real, the object was not, and that's where the difference lies between infatuation and true love. So, how does real love differ from these cases of illusional love? Well, let's explore that. First, let's get one thing straight. Real love is not a fairy tale. It's not about knights in shining armor or damsels in distress. It's not about perfect people in perfect relationships. It's about two flawed individuals coming together, knowing each other deeply, and choosing to love each other despite and sometimes because of those flaws. You see, real love is about acceptance. It's about seeing someone's imperfections, their quirks, their foibles, and saying, yes, I see all of that, and I still choose you. It's about standing by someone's side when the going gets tough, not just when the sailing is smooth. It's about sharing life's ups and downs, its triumphs and trials, its joys and sorrows. In contrast, illusional love is superficial. It's about falling in love with an idealized image of a person, not the person themselves. It's about cherry-picking qualities and traits, projecting them onto someone, and then falling in love with this perfect but non-existent entity. There's no depth, no complexity, no acceptance of flaws. It's a house of cards that collapses at the first gust of reality. In real love, you know your partner in all kinds of situations. You see them at their best and their worst. You see how they react when they're angry, when they're tired, when they're stressed. You see them in the morning with messy hair and at night after a long day. You see them in the raw, unfiltered reality of everyday life, not just in the rose-tinted glow of infatuation. And if, after all that, you still love them, still care for them, still choose them every day, then that's real love. It's not easy, it's not always pretty, but it's real, it's deep, it's complex, and it's beautiful in its own imperfect way. Real love is about embracing the imperfections, not just cherishing the perfections. In conclusion, while the feelings in illusional love are real, the object of love is not. This statement sums up the profound exploration we've embarked on today. We've unraveled the enigma of love, from the initial infatuation with a perfect stranger, to the idolization of an untouched entity, and finally to the raw, genuine reality of love. We've seen how it's all too easy to fall for an idealized image, a phantom person conjured up by our desires and dreams. This is the perfect stranger, the one we believe we know, yet we've only skimmed the surface of their being. We cherry-pick qualities that align with our ideals, attributing perfection where it does not exist. This untouched idol becomes the object of our affections, an illusory figure we're infatuated with. But real love, as we've discovered, isn't about perfection. It's not about a flawless image or a fantasy built on selective traits. Real love is about knowing someone deeply, understanding their strengths, their flaws, their quirks, their dreams and their fears. It's about seeing them in all kinds of situations, through the highs and the lows, and still caring for them. It's about acceptance, understanding, and a willingness to stick together through thick and thin. The feelings in illusional love, the passion, the longing, the adoration, they're all real. But they're directed at a mirage, a phantom that exists only in our minds. The object of our love, in these cases, isn't real. It's a figment of our imagination, a construct of our desires. So as we wrap up this exploration, let's reflect on the depth of our understanding of love. Are we in love with a person or an idealized image of them? Are we embracing reality or are we lost in illusion? The person you claim to love may not exist outside your head, but the emotions are real. Recognizing this difference is the first step towards understanding the true nature of love.